is happening in Australia in demand response. So you can say this is a demand response case study. Now, before I go that, I want to clarify one or two things because that might create a little bit of confusion. Every market is different, every country is different. The way Australia is structured is that retailers and generators, they are probably, many times they are same, like we call it genitailers. So like companies like AGL can have generation and retailers. The company I'm representing, Gemina, or there are other companies which I was earlier like Osnet, or those companies are only transmission and distribution networks. So they do not have the generation and they do not have the retail. So it's just the reason I'm saying is because whatever demand response we are doing or whatever storage we are doing, there are three value streams. So what I'm presenting you is the one value stream for the network, but there are another two value streams which are there for the customer, which retailers have the control over that, and there are other value streams for the wholesale market, for the grid stability, for FCAS market, and that is a different value stream. So somebody needs to aggregate all these value streams, but what I'm presenting to you is the value stream these demand responses offer to only a transmission distribution network without having the retail capabilities. Gemini is not a very big network, but Gemini owns the electricity and very big gas distribution, transmission distribution networks in Australia. And this is, we are part of the Singapore Power Grid and State Grid Corporation as a company. Gemini Electricity Network is more towards, if somebody is familiar with the Melbourne, towards the northwest of Melbourne, towards the airport from Melbourne City. So it's very much as a urban distribution network. Now, in terms of the demand response, like you think of the system reserves, which we are talking of the sub-second kind of thing, and then it goes to the energy efficiency, which is already optimized. But in my term, which I'm using demand response, is the flexible demand, the dispatchable and flexible demand from minutes to hours required to support the grid. Now, there are many cases for the load control, and this is what is happening. When the solar is going, Australia is a country where we have got high penetration of solar, and when the solar is going, and you have heard of this, duck curve, and Australia is saying MU curve, because in the noon everybody is producing, and then after 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. when the day is really hot, everyone wants the electricity from the grid. So those kind of load. So in the noon, somebody has to actually put the load, because we have to manage the voltage. So those kind of load. You need a flexible, not only we need a flexible demand, we need flexible loads also. And electric vehicle will be one of the propositions to come into that later on when the uptake takes place. So what I'm saying is that you need the load control and you need the demand control. Now just to set you scene, that Australia is in a regulated market, where the customer choice is becoming a reality, and the regulator, although they are always catching up, and the utilities are defined as conservative, slow acting entities, the market is changing, and market is reforming, and there are one of the biggest reasons is, I think, the solar PV penetration in the houses. Another thing is, in Australia, the condition is that we are not having the demand growth. So our demand growth from the network perspective is either steady or declining, overall demand. The only issue is that peak demand is growing, and that is driven by the air conditioners. So the question is here, how to manage that peak demand without augmenting the network or without putting the network solutions, and that is where the network demand response comes in. Now, if somebody is interested to see what are the scenarios and short-term, medium-term, long-term in Australia. The ENA has come up with a roadmap which is available, and it says something by 2027 how much DER will be there, and what sort of scenario we expect in Australia in terms of the distributed energy resources. And when I say distributed energy resources, I mean distributed generation and the flexible demand included. Now, the first thing which I said is behavioral-based demand response, which we have done it because Australian summer is December to March. So this is the first trial we did with 600 customers. So what is basically is that we are saying we went to the residential customers. So this was a trial with the residential customers, and we went to the residential customers. They registered to participate, and we said, look, we will be informing you 48 hours before, 24 hours before, 8 hours before, 2 hours before through the SMS, and telling you that at this point, this day, when the temperature goes 40 degree plus, or schools are on and there are overnight temperatures are such that we expect a very high demand, we give them the saying, can you reduce voluntarily your consumption? And it doesn't happen that we just leave them there. There are a lot of insights or things which possibly says what they could do. The best option is to go to movie and earn some reward. So this is incentive-based behavioral program. It means that if you reduce your demand during the time, there are incentives attached to it. And some people may be interested in those, some people are not interested depending on the segment they come from. So this is the program we tried, and it was a trial seeing how much potential it has, what is the cost and what is the firmness in it, whether people can really do it. This is also, the best way the utilities want is directly control the load because there's a guarantee. So I'll come back to that, but this is the first step to have that kind of trust with the customer, because in Australia, as I said, retailers engage with the customers. The transmission distribution companies do not engage at the moment, or were not engaging with the customers. So our trust with the customer is not that great. They don't trust electricity utilities, what we are saying, even if we are truthful. So that is why this is first is to have that engagement, have that relationship, have that trust. And then we can also, this can be a segue to go to the direct load control as it is happening, and we are trying that thing also. And Victoria is the state where I come from, where smart meter rollout was mandated, so every house has a smart meter anyway. So I know there are alternate technologies if the smart meter rollout doesn't make sense, but in this case, because we had the advantage of having the smart meter was used to actually, analyzing the data, saying how much is their consumption and what would have been their consumption at the time of when we asked them to reduce something, to set up the baseline and targets, and to give them the live feed, how they are tracking, and whether they have done successfully or not. So all this was done using the smart meter data. But this is 30-minute data. In terms of the load disaggregation, I actually saw the presentation from someone else saying without the smart meter, they are actually doing a quite good job to find out which load it is. Probably smart meter has to go for 1 minute data kind of thing to get that level of discrimination. Now, the program was, we actually had, so there were two ways the customer could access. They could go through the website or through the internet, or there was a native app on the mobile, so they could actually download. And through the app, they could register for the program. And once they register, they are validated. And the reason we were validating is some people might be on a live support and all that, and just because of incentive they want to participate, we don't want that to happen. So we were saying that whether it's a sensible thing for them to do it. So this chart actually shows the kind of recruitment, and that is the hardest part, how to recruit, how to get the people's attention to be part of this, because the incentives are not that great, but there are some incentives. Now you will see the two words here, the community and reward. We wanted to test, so there was one area where we said your rewards, you can nominate these 2 schools or 3 charities. You don't get anything, but you are working for the charities. And there another area where it says you get the gift card for yourself. So we just wanted to see which works. I'll not go into those details. These are actually the valid questions, and I've gone into too much detail. There are not just California ISO, Casio 10 in 10. There are many methods of determining the baseline. The first thing is all of them has been based on the reserve generation kind of thing. They are not tuned to the residential customer demand, which is temperature dependent. For example, when you do X of Y days, and then you want to do the adjustment, you want to see the morning adjustment and use that multiplier factor if people are aware of that, but that doesn't apply. In the customer sense, you cannot see the trend in the morning. It's only when they switch on the air conditioners. So anyway, and the another issue is, how do we set up their baseline? What, compared to the last year, similar temperature, what they use it, but they might have changed something during the year. So we have tried various methods. This is the distribution. See what we have settled this time around for the trial is that we were taking the 10 eligible days rolling average and using a multiplier factor to set up the target. And then it gave us a little bit of challenge for solar customers, because solar customers 10 days, they must be sunny hot days, last 10 days, or we were not saying it was temperature dependent, it's 10 days, but then on a day it can be hot but cloudy, and then all their consumption patterns change, the baseline may not be accurate. So I'm just showing you that these are the challenges when you set up the baseline and their targets with which they are rewarded based on their performance. Simple case, just an example, for 3 hours when we have declared the event, demand response event, and we are not the only one. This time our market operator, which is called AEMO, they had a big demand response program, almost 100 megawatt tune of that. So there were a lot of people participating in that. And this is just an example that we say the 3 hours, your last 10 days, these are the kilowatt hours, and this is your target. And then we give the live feed, and the important thing was customer engagement and insight. So every year after, we run the 6 events this summer, and after every event, there were a lot of surveys and the individual interviews with the customers also to get the feedback, what worked, what did they do, and what is their behavior, what are their attitudes. And we have also segmented our customers into 6 segments, which we have now linked to their meters. So as soon as we see the meter number, we know which segment. So the study we are doing is which segment is actually will bother to register for you, register for these kind of demand response, and which segment say I'm too busy or I'm not interested. So that will help to actually target and market those customers. So this is the kind of things people could do. Before that, they could pre-cool, they could put the blinds on, they could go out, as I said, or they may not run the non-essential things during the event. If they are really interested to participate, help the electricity grid. It helps everyone because then we don't have to augment the network just to manage the peak demand. Direct load control is another one which we are trying. In Australia, there are standards which are called DRED, Demand Response Enabling Devices. Queensland is very advanced on that there are peak smart air conditioners, and through we can remote control, you can control people's air conditioners. The way they have done it is through the rebate at the time of purchasing the air conditioners, and what we have actually just done the technology, proof of technology, which we want to slowly go. They're using the smart meter network. So either we can use the smart meter internet or Zigbee, or we can use the RF mesh as a communication network to talk to the air conditioner. So we have done that this summer. The DRED standard, which actually I think is 4755, which says there are 3 modes of demand response. One mode, we can switch off the compressor, fan will still run. The second mode, it will run to the 50% efficiency, and third mode, 75% efficacy. So it means like it will be on off, those kind of things. So, but depending on how the customer feel and what they're pre-cooled and what they're not done it. So this is a trial going on in Australia. We have also done something this summer. Now there's another way of this thing which we are doing is with the commercial industrial customers, having the network support agreements with them that we will tell you 1 hour before, and if you can reduce your few megawatts, we will reward you. There will be availability rewards and there will be dispatch rewards. This time we have done using an aggregator, but we can, utilities are doing directly also with their customers, industrial customers, C&I customers. There's another thing which is in our kit. I've tried 4 zone substations this time. We can actually, this is not an infinite resource, but you can adjust voltage within the limit, still following the electricity distribution code, that we can lower the voltage during that high peak demand and get some megawatt reduced across the network. So other Australian utilities have done it. This summer we have tried it, and definitely if you think of the load combination, the load characteristics are changing now. They used to be like, if you reduce 1% voltage, the power will reduce in the same proportion. But now with the air conditioners and the LEDs and everything, that ratio is changing very much. So it's not a what you call it, it's not a constant impedance load, but it's a mix of that. And what we are interested in, what is the characteristic of that impedance during the 40-degree day, where we can actually reduce the voltage within the limit. There are a lot of risk management required for that, and that is again the smart meter is helping us. When we did the 4 zone substations, we were monitoring the every 5-minute data for under voltage event from smart meters, and seeing that there is no vulnerable customer, and so that gave us that there was no customer complaint actually after the trial. So industry in Australia is getting around 0.63. Like if you reduce 1%, you can get 0.6% power, but you can go only up to a limit, so it's not an infinite resource. This is some industry standards which are the different kind of loads. So as I'm saying, it can be constant power, constant impedance, constant current, which kind of thing. It's a mix of that actually. So at the point of when we are seeing what the loads are. As I said, if we are, we are definitely committed, and we have already started doing this also. These are the different solutions. What I'm actually saying is that from a network perspective, we have realized that we have to contain the electricity prices, to contain the network charges. If we have to only manage the peak demand, which is 4 or 5 days in a year, we don't have to augment the network, which is because overall demand is not growing. And that is why all these solutions, our mix of all these solutions, give us the way to manage the demand during the particular event or particular day. I think that's about it. Thank you very much.
Any questions from the audience? So, thank you very much, Yogendra.